Human factors is a very broad topic, and it includes all different kinds of interactions between humans and other agents, including machines, humans, organizations. Its broad idea is that we need to be able to improve the quality of the interactions in order to be able to make the system perform both reliably and efficiently. Is the glass half empty or half full? This is always the story. If you ask an engineer that question, is the glass half empty or half full, the engineer will say the glass is twice as big as it needs to be. We clearly have real difficulties that we are trying to deal with now. The nature of air travel is changing. We are getting more airplanes in the sky at the same time. We have airplanes that are taking and landing off very close together, and all of our planning suggests that we're going to have more of that in the future. That means that the demands on the system are going to increase, not decrease. And we already can see that the traffic controllers are struggling to keep up with this change. Not all the time, but certainly at specific times of the year and specific kinds of weather conditions. Weather turns out to be really probably the biggest single impacting factor in terms of workload on practitioners. We're really interested in understanding how it is that people manage to cope with this, because despite the variable traffic load, it's really clear that practitioners are very good at coping with the demands that are placed on them. And from an academic standpoint, we are trying to understand that. We want to know how you do the work that you do in order to understand what its strengths and weaknesses are. We don't pretend that we know very much about how to be air traffic controllers. In fact, we are sure that we would never want to be in your seat. But we do think that there are ways that we can help explain the work that you do so that others who make the systems can understand what is necessary in order to make the conditions of your work better, and how to make that whole system perform better as a system. In the operating room where I'm working and doing anesthesia, sometimes it will turn out that I cannot take a patient from the operating room to the recovery room, even though the operation is over and the patient is awake. Why can't I do that? Because the recovery room is full. Why is the recovery room full? Because they're waiting to send a patient to the intensive care unit. Why is the intensive care unit not able to take that patient? Because that place is full too. Why is it full? Because they're waiting to send a patient out to the ward in the hospital. Why hasn't that happened? Because the ward in the hospital is full. What are they waiting for there? They're waiting for someone to take the patient who has been discharged home. It can go all the way through the system. A block at one particular point, an obstacle here, can have an effect all the way through the system until it actually impacts the care of a patient in the operating room. These are systems that are working at the edge of their capacity, and they have complex interactions. And we see this not just in air traffic control, but also in medicine, in other transportation systems, in industrial systems, in military systems. We are all facing a common problem, which is that the complexity of our work and the great expense of doing what we do have created situations where we are using everything effectively almost all the time. We have very small margins to accommodate changes or disruptions. As we have gotten more technologically sophisticated, we've gotten more separated from each other. We don't all work in the same location. We don't all talk to each other outside of our work. We don't have much contact except for the daily operational work. Trying to put back the connections between people so that we can have a common language for talking about these kinds of problems is really important. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do here. Just to have a common language is very important to making progress on safety. I love being here. I love being in Spain. I love being in Barcelona. I love it that the people here are all interested in safety, all trying very hard to improve the quality of safety. This is a very positive environment. It's not people who are complaining about this or that. They're all working to make safety easier to accomplish in the air traffic management world.